So, hello everyone. Myself, Professor Pratik Prakash Kale, your tutor for this mechanics subject. Now we are in this third lecture. Now we are going to see some basic definitions that we generally use in our day-to-day life. Okay, and regarding the science, obviously, science, physics. Okay, and we are going to discuss them in detail. And also we are going to see today the different kind of force system that we should consider in this engineering mechanics subject. Wait a second. Okay. So first of all, we should know about the scalar and vector quantities. So what do you mean by a scalar quantity? A scalar quantity is that which can be completely defined by its magnitude only. Means a certain quantity which just has value. It just has magnitude. Okay. But it does not possess any direction. Okay. That particular quantity will be called as a scalar quantity. For that example, we should take a mass, length, volume, temperature, time. Now, what these examples are we generally use in our day-to-day life without defining its direction. Okay, we just say my mass is or my weight is 77 kg. We did not say that the my weight is 77 kg in north direction. Okay, are you getting my point? Try to understand. Now, what do you mean by a vector quantity? It is the quantity which possesses magnitude as well as direction. Means a quantity which can be defined not only by its magnitude but also by its direction. Okay, so magnitude and direction both are required while defining a vector quantity. Now, for example, in this we should have force, displacement, velocity, and acceleration. Okay, now for example, a force, if you apply force on any body, okay, you have to mention it is a push or pull. Okay, you have pushed something with 10 kilonewton force. Means what is this pushing criteria? It is taking away a body from you, therefore you should mention its direction. Means the body is will move after you give a push away from you. Means from your reference it will go away from you, that is the direction. Okay, so similarly the vector quantities are like this. Now some basic definitions we will discuss right now. So first of all, the matter. Okay, we came across this word in our first lecture. So matter is anything that can occupy physical space. It can be made up of various particles, each with mass and size. Okay. Now then, particle is what? Particle is the smallest or largest body assumed or considered for the study under the mechanics or physics. Okay, so what do you mean by particle? We can say particle to the earth also, we can say particle to the pen also. Okay, the thing is that you should consider that body or that particle under your consideration for the study. Then what is mass? It is the amount of matter contained. Means this is the term used to quantify the matter. Okay, and in engineering mechanics generally a mass is referred as a resistance to translation. Means it will oppose your motion. So your motion or your displacement or your translation will be inversely proportional to your mass. What is time? Time is generally defined as it is the measure of successive events. Means successive events that are happening, then whatever is the unit that you have for the measuring successive events, that is known as a time. Now what is length? Length is the distance between any two points in the body. Please remember. Then what is point? Point is anything that only possess position. Okay, what is point? Point will only possess position. It will just have position. It will not have any kind of mass and volume. Now the next important is the displacement. Displacement, what do you mean by displacement? It is the shortest distance between two directions or 2 points, sorry. It is the shortest distance between any two points on the body, calculated as final position minus initial position. Okay. Now what is distance? Distance is the total path covered by a body. Distance is total path covered by a body. We will take one example for this. Consider this triangular path A, B to C, and we will join this by this dotted line. Now this AB plus BC is the distance traveled by any body, which will start from A to B then to C. So AB plus BC will be the distance covered, but AC will be the displacement of the body which is traveling along this path. Yes or no? Final position minus initial position. Okay. Now, so displacement is a vector quantity, so we should have its direction. From A it is going towards northeast or northwest, whatever it may be. Okay. So distance is the total path traveled by the body ABC. Okay. Then velocity and speed. What do you mean by velocity? Velocity is the time rate change of displacement, means it is a vector quantity. Velocity is a vector quantity denoted by capital V. So it can be defined as ds by dt, where s is the displacement. Okay. Therefore it is a vector quantity. And speed is what? It is a constant term. It just have value. It will not depend on the direction. So it is a time rate change of distance only. Okay. That is a speed and it is a scalar quantity. Just think over here that if any circular path is there, think on this question. I will give you one question here to think. If this is a circular path and any body is moving with a speed s, okay, any body is moving with speed s, then can you say that its velocity at these different points will be constant or not? If the speed is constant for particular body on this circular path, I want to know that its velocity is constant or not. Okay, just think over it. We will discuss it at the end of this video. Now acceleration is what? Acceleration is the time rate change of velocity. Means if you differentiate velocity with respect to time, you will get acceleration. Now acceleration is of two types: linear acceleration, angular acceleration. Whenever your body is moving in a angular path, then you should define its angular velocity and angular acceleration. So linear acceleration will be, this is small a, make one correction, this is small a. Acceleration, it is dv by dt, this is linear acceleration, and alpha is a angular acceleration and it is denoted by d omega by dt, where omega is angular velocity. Okay, it is angular velocity. Okay, now moving to next, there are types of force system. Okay, so force system is majorly divided into two types, that is 2D forces and 3D forces. So coplanar forces will refer to 2D forces, non-coplanar forces will be referred as a spatial or a 3D forces. In coplanar system you will be having concurrent, non-concurrent, and in under non-concurrent system you will be having parallel and general force system. Under parallel you will have like parallel, unlike parallel. Similarly, for non-coplanar force system, you will be having concurrent, parallel, non-concurrent and non-parallel force system. Now we will see in detail each and every one. Okay. So coplanar force system. So first one is a collinear forces. That is, this particular type we have not added in our previous slide, but you should know this collinear force mean what. If a line of action of two forces lies in same line, okay, then the forces can be called as a collinear. For example, you can say the tug of war. It will look like this: P1 and P2, two forces acting at a single point and they are having their line of action same. They may act towards each other, they may act away from each other. Now second one is coplanar forces. So what do you mean by coplanar forces? If a line of action of all forces lies in the same plane, those will be termed as a coplanar forces. For example, we can say that forces acting in any plane, just like this. You can add some other forces too. This is P3, P4, P5. These all forces are acting in xy plane. Therefore, these are coplanar forces. Co means one, planar means in plane. That is, in one plane, if forces are acting, those are called as a coplanar forces. Then concurrent, what do you mean by concurrent forces? If the line of action of all forces passing through or meeting at a single point, then the system is called as a concurrent force system. Your system will look like this. These entire forces are acting in the same plane, but at the same time they all are passing through this one point. Means if you stretch down the line of action of each force, it will pass through this. It will pass through this. Yes. So this type of forces nothing but called as a concurrent forces. Now moving to next, coplanar concurrent. There is a combination. As I told you in my previous slide, this entire, now without these axes, these are only concurrent forces. But if you place this force system in one plane, then it will be called as a coplanar concurrent force system, just like a spokes of your bicycle tire. Okay, remember this. This is the exact diagram for coplanar concurrent. Now coplanar non-concurrent means what? These forces do not meet at a common point but remain in one plane. Okay, these are the non-concurrent. So forces acting in any plane like this, these are called as a coplanar but non-concurrent. These all are acting in same plane, xy plane. Therefore, they are coplanar. But their line of action is not meeting at one single point. Okay, if you stretch down its line of action, it will not meet at a single point. Therefore, it is a non-concurrent forces. Then non-coplanar concurrent forces. Okay, non-coplanar concurrent. In this type or in this system, the forces lie in a different planes, but they passes through a single point. For example, we will keep or we will take the camera tripod. Yes, or camera tripod or electric bulb, where your electric bulb nahi, sorry, electric pole. Okay, where all the wires from each and every household meet at this point. They will be traveling from each and every plane and meeting at this single point. Just like your camera tripod, it can be also a example for this. Yes, these all forces are coming from different planes, but they are meeting at only one point. Therefore, it is called as a non-coplanar but concurrent force system. And the last one is the non-coplanar non-concurrent forces. In this, the forces which do not lie in a single plane and do not passes at all through the single point are known as the non-coplanar non-concurrent forces. For example, you can take the loads transfer through the columns of the rectangular mat foundation. Okay, so thank you so much. We will see a problem in our next